I've been here 4 or 5 times, and every time it's an excellent visit to get connected with the commercial, the educational, the cultural wealth in this great city. Just this morning I came from IFFI and Film Bazaar, and we've got these great U.S. filmmakers who are out here working with Indian filmmakers from all over the country, developing scripts for web series, and maybe we'll get to see the next great script come out of one of these joint workshops between the American and Indian filmmakers. I hit a few major topics while I was here. One is looking at the innovation ecosystem that's here in Goa. You've got a lot of work going on at leading universities like the BITS Pilani campus here in Goa, research into really important things that drive the modern world, like semiconductors and clean energy and pharmaceuticals, all industries that I know Goa is either big into right now or is looking to extend into. And we want to be partners from the US side with all of these. Also this week, one of the big things that we're looking at is the flow of people between our countries and people-to-people connections. On Monday, we just put out the annual report about the number of students going to the US. And for the first time since 2008, we're very happy that India reached the #1 rank for students going to the US of all countries in the world. 3.3 lakh, 330,000 Indian students in the US. In the last year, our consulate in Mumbai was #1 in the world, issuing student visas. So for Indians going, over this most recent year, our consulates across India and our embassy, we've interviewed more than 1 million Indians for visa applications. And what are we doing? We're putting energy into new ways to process Indian visa applicants, whether they're students, humanitarian medical travelers, business people, or workers. And we're dedicating staff. We're fully staffed. We've got extra staff we bring in from other countries around the world. We're doing some pioneering new methods of managing visas with remote processing. We're doing interview waivers for people who are renewing. Each one of these methods is intended to speed up and make that process as efficient as possible. And then the third thing, so I've talked about technology and educational partnerships. I've talked about what we're doing on people-to-people relations. The third thing I did here is visit with some of the Goa government officials who are doing groundbreaking work in 2 areas that I just want to call out. And one of them is with disabilities. The Goa Disabilities Commission. I'm incredibly impressed by their first-in-the-country work that they're doing to promote inclusive economic participation, social participation for everyone with disabilities, the normalization, the mainstreaming of people with disabilities. I'm really impressed by that. I was just over at the Bom Jesus Cathedral and Basilica for the exposition of St. Xavier's remains. What a wonderful event. And what did I see there? I saw these electric wheelchair accessible rickshaws from the Disabilities Commission facilitating the visit of pilgrims. I thought that's really indicative of the good work that's happening here in Goa. And the other part that I saw is the prosecutors who are working on fighting human trafficking, especially trafficking in the sex industry. And I think that's very impressive and also important as we go into the UN's 16 days of countering violence against women that comes up at this time of year. I applaud their work, and we really always seek to partner in any way that we can to counter that scourge.
My question is that on Adani, so will there be any impact on trade business between the 2 countries?
Look, on everything related to the Adani issue, the indictment that came out this week, I point you to the U.S. SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, and the U.S. Department of Justice. They're the ones that are managing that completely.
You met all this Goa Disability Commission, you visited the university, but are there any specific proposals that the U.S. Council is thinking of Goa with these bodies?
Yeah, so I also met with the CII chapter here, so I could talk to people across all different industries. And specifically, I was particularly impressed with what some of the electronics industry and green power industry firms, companies, are looking to do. I see some opportunities for collaboration between counterparts that are doing really advanced work on the US side and the Indian side in electronics manufacturing and in green energy manufacturing. Cutting edge solutions that are helping us with a clean energy transition. And I think we're going to see some connections that we're going to try to make between those US and Indian companies working on exchange of technology, growing business connections in those fields.
And with the Disability Commission, is there any specific, Goa Disability Commission, like is there any specific assistance?
Yeah, we're bringing our experts together who have been working on very similar issues on the US side. And I think, honestly, there's a two-way flow of information and of expertise. I've been impressed with what I've seen here in Goa, and I think mutually we can learn from the experience in Goa as much as maybe Goans can learn from other experiences around the world. But I've been really impressed with the playbook that the Commission for Disabilities has put together after the Purple Fest last year. How could other municipalities help replicate the success? So I think it's a two-way flow of information and expertise.
You spoke of the opportunities for collaboration both in green energy and technology. Collaboration between US companies and Indian companies or Goan companies. Could you give a little more light on how this collaboration will evolve? Is it in terms of joint visits to each other's platforms or to their sites, or is it in terms of funding or in terms of an MOU? How exactly is this going to go about?
No, it's a great question. Look, it's going to come together first, if I can paint the picture, with a triangle. And that triangle has three parts: government, researchers, and business. And the idea is each one of them is going to support the others, because the connection between advanced research on the academic side between both of our countries needs to be informed by business and then to drive next generation business solutions. So let me give you an example. When you take a look at electric vehicles, right now electric vehicles rely on current technology, which is lithium ion. That technology has its own physical and chemical limitations, but it's also got a supply chain limitation. Most of that supply chain is reliant on one country. It's reliant on China. And there's no supply chain that's going to be strong and resilient if it's reliant on a single point of failure. So what we are particularly trying to do is get businesses and researchers in the same room so that the businesses can say, 5 years from now, we need a technology that can deliver X, Y, and Z, and then the suppliers of that research can say, great, we'll solve that, and we'll do it in a way that gives us more than just one supplier coming out of China. The way that'll happen, on the US side, we have leading US research institutions. We have a series of US national laboratories that are run by the US Department of Energy. They are all interested and in talks now with counterparts out on the Indian side, whether it's national labs on the Indian side or universities. And we've already got Indian and US companies who are signed up to metaphorically and physically be in the room to inform this. I think in Western India there's a great opportunity, especially given 2- and 3-wheeler industries that are here. And it's not the only place in the country. There's a lot of great work being done in Chennai. There's a lot of great work being done in Hyderabad and Kolkata. And that's the beauty of both of our countries. They're so big and diverse. We can make many different types of partnerships on this.
I had a second question regarding collaboration of human partnerships, making human connections, and specifically you spoke of the visa for students. How do you see this situation evolving, this trend of dedicating energy staff, new technology to ease it up, with the new government coming in America?
So look, we're going to have a change of administration on January 20th, and I'm going to let the new administration on the 20th talk about its own policies and programs at that point. What I've seen over the last 2 decades, take everything going back to the early 2000s, especially then the Civil Nuclear Agreement, there's been a trend across administrations. The George W. Bush, Biden, Trump, Obama administrations, there's been an increasing trend of ever closer ties, increasing trade. Trade's increased 100-fold in the last 20 years. The number of students has done nothing but increase. The number of technology collaborations and educational partnership collaborations between institutions has only grown. So my expectation would be where we see continued interest on both sides, we're seeing a lot of interest right now, you're going to see continued growth.
Business as usual for now.
Very much so. We have a president, President Joe Biden, who is very much still active. He's out meeting with world leaders. The way that our system works is the president and the entire cabinet is fully empowered and fully in place right up until the transition.
You have talked about human trafficking. Do you have any Goa-based specific data and how American government is collaborating with Indian government, specific for Goa? I just want to know what is the situation in Goa and what are the possibilities further.
Yeah. So look, we don't get involved in local law enforcement matters, but one thing that we are doing is connecting experts on both sides. There are programs that we've done across India to help connect the best international and Indian experts. I respect there's some actually great work going on, not just in Goa, but across Western India, with locations that are sending people in these networks of trafficking. And one thing that we're trying to do is also make sure that any advice that we can give on the cyber side, the way that information and connections for trafficking unfortunately happen in the digital space. We have a cybersecurity center of excellence between US and India that's based in Pune. And one of the things that we've done is bring in police in Western India into that discussion so that the cyber side can help, rather than just be facilitating the crime, can also be a way that we can help address this problem.
During this entire election, Elon Musk was very active with Donald Trump. Do you see things getting into twice the pace with the new government, because he's also involved in, he's having more larger global idea that he has been trying.
Sorry, your question, I just didn't hear the word. Do I see?
Whatever that is planning will happen into two, means double paced with his involvement in the government.
Like I said, we're going to have to watch after January 20th to see what the new administration does. And I can't make predictions. I think we're all reading the news at the same time on who's been appointed to various positions. And when that new administration comes in on January 20th, we'll watch and be able to follow along at that point.
I have a question. I wanted to ask whether is there a US tourist coming in for the exposition?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea on
Yeah, for IFFI? Yeah, definitely.
for IFFI as well as the exposition?
Oh, up at the cathedral? Yeah, definitely. And I was just talking with both the government of Goa as well as with the church officials who are helping manage that. They expect people from all around the world. And I think especially as it gets towards the Christmas holidays, you're going to see more people coming in. The exposition goes until January 5th, so I think some of them will be coming then. So I thank all of you for being here.